You won't believe what happened to me last week. I came home to find my garage door wide open, and it wasn't me who opened it. The HOA, yes, the Homeowners Association, had just broken in without telling me. Why? To store their equipment inside my personal space. At first, I thought it was a mistake, maybe some kind of mix-up. But as I looked closer, I realized they didn't know the full story. They had no idea that I'm a weapons tester. Yeah, not something you expect in a quiet neighborhood. This isn't just about trespassing or stolen privacy. It's way bigger than that. My garage isn't just a place for bikes or tools. It's a workspace filled with sensitive and potentially dangerous gear. The moment I saw their equipment mixed in with mine, a rush of panic hit me. What if something goes wrong? What if they mess with my stuff without knowing what it really is? The tension in the air was thick, and I knew I had to figure out how to handle this situation fast. But here's the catch. They still don't know who they're dealing with, and I'm not sure what their next move will be. So what happens when you mix a weapons tester with an overstepping HOA? Stay tuned because the story's just getting started. To give you a bit more context, my garage isn't just any ordinary garage. It's kind of like my personal lab. Over the years, I've been testing and developing all kinds of advanced equipment, mostly for safety and security purposes. It's a passion, and it's also my job. That means there's a lot of sensitive gear in there, tools and devices that require careful handling. Nothing illegal or dangerous to the public, but definitely not stuff you want just anyone messing around with. The HOA showing up unannounced and dumping their equipment in my space felt like a major invasion. I've always been pretty chill about the neighborhood rules, paid my fees on time, and tried to keep things friendly. But this was crossing a line. What worries me most is how little they seem to understand what's inside that garage. It's not just about privacy, it's about safety and respect. I don't know if they realize the risks they're taking, or what could happen if their equipment gets tangled up with mine. And so far, every time I've tried to reach out to them, the responses have been vague, like they're dodging the real issue. The whole situation feels off, like there's something more going on behind the scenes. I'm trying to figure out if this was a mistake, or if someone in the HOA is deliberately stirring trouble. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Since that day, things have only gotten more complicated. I tried to talk to the HOA board members, but every conversation felt like I was hitting a wall. They kept insisting they had the right to use the garage for storage because it was community property. But that didn't sit right with me. My garage is clearly attached to my house, my property. Why would they just barge in like that? The more I dug, the more it seemed like some people on the board didn't want to admit they made a mistake, or maybe they were hiding something. At the same time, my neighbors started acting strangely. A few who used to be friendly suddenly avoided me or gave me weird looks when I mentioned the garage incident. It's like the whole neighborhood was split, some siding with the HOA, others unsure what to think. I even caught snippets of gossip about me being secretive or dangerous because of my work. That felt unfair, but also made me realize how little people understand about what I do. Meanwhile, the equipment the HOA left inside my garage wasn't just random tools. Some of it looked old, poorly maintained, and frankly, out of place. I couldn't shake the feeling that storing their stuff in my space might cause damage, or worse, trigger something I wasn't ready to deal with. Every time I walked in, I felt that mix of frustration and unease building up. I wanted to stand my ground, but I also worried about how far this could go if I pushed too hard. There's something about this whole situation that doesn't add up, and I'm starting to think there's more behind their sudden interest in my garage than just storage space. But what? I'm still piecing together the clues, and trust me, the story is far from over. The tension kept rising, and it felt like things were about to explode at any moment. One evening, I came home to find the garage door slightly ajar again. My heart sank. I rushed over, expecting the worst. Inside, I saw that HOA's equipment moved around, some of it knocked over, parts scattered near my testing gear. It was clear someone had been in there recently, and not carefully. I started wondering, was this just carelessness, or was someone trying to send a message? I didn't know if it was a warning or just an accident waiting to happen. Every day since, I've been watching my property more closely, but the uncertainty was eating away at me. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. What if something happened to my equipment? What if this escalated beyond a simple property dispute? On top of that, the HOA board called an emergency meeting. I was invited but felt the tension in their tone even before I walked in. Their attitude was different, almost confrontational. They talked about community needs and shared responsibility, but I could see behind the polite words there was pressure from someone higher up, someone who wanted to control the space no matter what. As the meeting went on, it became clear this wasn't just about storing equipment anymore. I caught a few comments hinting at bigger plans, and suddenly I realized my garage, and maybe me, were caught in something much bigger than a neighborhood dispute. I could feel the weight of the situation pressing down. The line between friend and foe blurred, and I had to decide how far I was willing to go to protect what was mine. I'm at the edge of something huge, but I still don't know what's coming next. The garage, the HOA, my work, they're all tangled now, and the next move could change everything. Stay with me, because the next chapter will blow your mind. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more intense, I discovered something that shook me to the core. While reviewing some security footage I had set up after the garage break-ins, I caught a glimpse of someone I never expected. One of my closest neighbors, someone I've known for years, quietly sneaking into my garage late at night. And they weren't alone. There was another figure, someone I'd only seen at HOA meetings, lurking behind with a suspicious case. I replayed the video over and over, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Why would they risk breaking in like this? What were they really after? And more importantly, what were they hiding from the rest of the neighborhood? Suddenly, the whole situation took on a new, darker dimension. This wasn't just about storing equipment anymore. It felt like a covert operation, something secretive that no one wanted me to uncover. The trust I once had in my neighbors shattered overnight. The person I thought I could count on was now part of the problem, maybe even the reason my garage became a battleground. I felt more alone than ever, caught in the middle of something I didn't fully understand but had to confront. With every passing day, the stakes grew higher. The HOA wasn't just pushing boundaries, they were crossing lines, dragging me into a conflict bigger than a simple property dispute. I had to figure out their real agenda before it was too late. But the deeper I dug, the more dangerous it became, and the clock was ticking. What would I do when the next move came? You won't believe what happens next, so stay tuned. I knew I couldn't wait any longer. The break-ins, the secret meetings, the silent threats, it all came to a head one night when I decided to confront the HOA directly. I set up cameras, locked down the garage, and waited. Hours passed, and just when I thought nothing was going to happen, I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps outside. The door creaked open again, but this time I was ready. As I stepped into the garage, I caught the HOA members red-handed, trying to move their equipment back inside. But they weren't just there to store things anymore. They were trying to access one of my prototypes, a device I had been developing in secret, something powerful and sensitive. That's when everything clicked. The HOA wasn't just careless or overstepping. They wanted control over what I was working on. Control for reasons I couldn't yet understand. Tensions exploded. Voices rose, accusations flew, and for a moment, it felt like everything was about to spiral out of control. But then, just when I thought I had the upper hand, the unexpected happened. One of the neighbors, who I'd thought was just caught up in the HOA drama, stepped forward and revealed they had been working with me all along. They weren't part of the board's plan. They were trying to protect me and the neighborhood from something bigger that the HOA was hiding. The twist? The HOA's equipment wasn't just random tools. It was linked to a shady deal involving outside contractors who wanted to take over the community, using my prototypes for their own gain. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a garage or a neighborhood dispute. It was about stopping something that could affect everyone. The story was far from over, but I was no longer facing it alone. After that intense night, everything started to fall into place. With the help of my neighbor, who had been quietly watching out for the community, we exposed the HOA's real plan. Their equipment was part of a bigger scheme involving outside contractors trying to take over the neighborhood, and they wanted to use my prototypes to gain control. It was shocking to realize how close they had come to pulling it off. I worked quickly to secure my garage and make sure my weapons testing equipment was protected. I also contacted local authorities and explained the situation so they could step in before things got worse. The HOA board members involved faced serious questions, and the neighborhood started coming together to rebuild trust. It wasn't easy, but sharing the truth helped clear the confusion and fear that had been growing. This experience taught me a lot about standing up for what's yours and how important it is to stay alert even when things seem calm. My garage isn't just a workspace, it's a reminder that sometimes protecting your space means going beyond the rules and fighting for respect. Thanks for sticking with me through this story. If you've ever dealt with something unexpected in your own neighborhood, drop a comment below. Let's talk about it.